Hello, my name is Robin. I write the heartroadblog.wordpress.com, and I'm back for another video. This one is going to be a video response to Kellyanne Maddox and her HouseWork Ramble connecting with deities as a pantheist. And I'm basically just going to pick out some things that inspired me or some things that I had thoughts about regarding my own practice, and I'm just going to ramble off of those. Um, I'm outside again because, as I said in a previous video, it's difficult to find a time when I'm not at work and when one of my roommates isn't sleeping. So this is me filming outside because one of my roommates is sleeping. And I promise I'm not wearing sunglasses on purpose. I happen to have the automatic changing lenses, so because it's sunny, my lenses are just going to be dark. It's the way it is. So I'm going to get started with this list of things that I wrote down. Um, One of the things that she said was that the reason one of the reasons she shares her practice online is to show people what's possible, and that's definitely why I created the Heart Road WordPress. Was that I found that I was having a lot of really intense and really personal experiences spiritually and with deities and angels. And I found that I was just so floored. I was so in awe about the kinds of experiences that I was having and what it was possible to even feel. You know, I don't. Some of these experiences they unlocked feelings in me and sort of perspectives and abilities to hope in certain situations that were just astounding. And I'm not even really sure that I could put words to them. But the point of the blog is to try. The point of the blog is to try, and I just wanted to act as an inspiration to other people that were, you know, that were wandering or that were, had mental illnesses like I do, that have difficulty feeling hope a lot of the time, that have difficulties with love and relationships, difficulties with self-love. That's why I started the blog, as I really wanted to give people give people a lens into what was possible for me and therefore what could be possible for you. Um, not at all to try to, my point in sharing my spiritual experience is not at all to dictate what the absolute truth is, because dear God, it's probably so much bigger than me. Like, how could I possibly, And people have such different and varied experiences. It's really cool, and some people have very different experiences than what I have, and those are amazing. Even if it doesn't fit within my personal spiritual framework, I can still see, sometimes how it fits into their framework, and then what that allows them to feel or to do or to think. And that's that's so cool to me, honestly. That's so amazing. So yeah, that's why I wanted to become a spiritual blogger, and why I started talking on YouTube now. Very much a similar goal. And let me see. Another thing she talked about was that uh, a lot of the things that you can experience as a spiritual person and in your practice becomes lost in translation. Um, and yeah, definitely. Like, um, there was another part of the video where, she said that sometimes you can't even explain your experiences to yourself, and I think that's absolutely true. Um, and that you shouldn't have to, honestly. I started having the best spiritual experiences of my life whenever I stopped I didn't completely stop because, you know, the spirit of curiosity is very strong within me and I just want to know everything. However, you know, however, I started having the best spiritual experiences of my life whenever I stopped trying to rigidly explain everything immediately. You know, um, I was whenever I started, people call it, like, I don't know if it's a term on YouTube, but it's definitely a term on Tumblr. Godphone. It's like whenever you start having, you can have a sort of connection or messages to between you and deities, kind of instantaneously. It's a much looser paradigm. It's a much looser way of interacting spiritually, you know. And sometimes, um, you know, it's not constant necessarily. It's just like a very loose structure where it's just like, hey, um, and you know, uh, I know that a lot of people get into like trance states in order to achieve that sort of level of communication. Um, and you know, trance states definitely. I mean, even if you have like the Godphone or whatever, like trance states really do help. You can get much clearer messages that way. But, you know, sometimes it has to do with energy management. It has to do with what you allow yourself to do. It has to do with like how you're going to divide your attention over any given day or week, you know. But anyway, so what I'm saying is that it's not any better or worse than any other style of deity communication. It's just different. It's a much more lax, it's a much more casual thing. And I found that I was able to I was able to develop that sort of lax, that sort of casual sort of experience, that casual way of communing with deities. Um, Once I stopped berating myself every time it happened, you know, every time that I thought I felt or heard something, you know, intuitively, I would, instead of being like, "Oh my God, Robin, that's so stupid," you know, anything like that, like berating myself, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that I thought for a second that maybe, you know, that I was worthy or whatever," you know, and you know, and it took me several months, you know, after like over years of self love work, and then it took me several months on top of that whenever this started kind of happening. And I decided that I wanted to explore that more and make it happen more. Um, it took several months of like having to be calm with myself and being like, okay, so this is happening. How do you feel about that? You know, what is this making surface from the depths of your insecurities? And does it even matter? You know, is what you're insecure about, does it even matter? Um, but anyway, I go on this like tangent about Godphone or whatever, about casual intuitiveness, um, to, you know, that's one thing that I know is not going to translate to a lot of people. Not everybody has this kind of experience. Not everybody has it with that frequency. Not everybody has it with that level of like casualness. That's one thing that, you know, I just know that I'm not going to be able to I'm not going to be able to explain that to everybody that I encounter. Um, and another thing is like the way that intuitively, like I call it like speaking to gods, but it's really like, or hearing or seeing gods or whatever, but it's much more internal than that. And, it, the senses, like, it's not always seeing or hearing, and it's never really with your physical senses. It's always like internal spiritual woo senses, you know, like whenever you read tarot and you just have these feelings, you know, it's like that. It's the internal spiritual woo senses, and you know that's a difficult thing sometimes to explain to people. It's also sort of difficult sometimes to, because I try to sometimes to inspire people. I write down, or to remember myself, I write down conversations that I've had with particular entities. and I write down the dialogue, so to speak, and as a sort of way of um, communicating why I had a particular thought or feeling or change happen within me. You know, I try to write down these dialogues, but often I'm having to translate what happened into English, into words, and into a framework where people can understand. Is like, oh yes, I can understand this back and forth exchange between two people, where it's like whenever it's actually happening, it's much more like all of the senses kind of flow together. Sometimes it's not really speaking or hearing or seeing. It's like feeling, and it's you know, empathic union, or like empathic or telepathic, like just instantly communicating feelings or ideas. Um, so sometimes that's difficult to explain. Anyway, I'm going to move on from that question, or not question. I've been answering a lot of, I've been responding to a lot of tags, so it's stuck in my mind as a question. But, okay, another thing that she talked about was pantheism versus polytheism, and kind of the intersection of both, and how not a lot of people really understand. There are always going to be people that don't understand why, if you say that you're a pantheist, why would you talk to individual personified deities like a polytheist would? Um, and I really I learned the term pantheist from Kellyanne Maddox's videos, and the way that she seemed to uh, commune with deities, it really, like, it seemed really similar. So I was like, oh yeah, then I must be a pantheist, because 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 I do think of like the whole world and the universe and all of disembodied consciousnesses is disembodied consciousnesses as like part of a really big system, a really big, huge fucking, excuse me, organism. Really big organism, or really big system of consciousness. But that doesn't mean to me that the individual parts aren't also individual and true. Like, if you think of just the human body, it's like, so I am one organism in a way, but then I also have individual cells inside of me that are alive in their own capacity. You know, I have bacteria in my stomach. I have bacteria on my eyelashes. Everybody does. You know, what's the stuff on your teeth? It's not plaque. It's like, I don't know, but like, whatever. It's you know, you have also little tiny organisms that are alive inside of you that are separate from you, but are also a part of you. So I you know, I think of pantheism and polytheism don't have to be contradictory in that way. You know, you can focus on a tiny part of an organism that is also alive in its own sense and is also its own consciousness. Or you can focus on like the larger organism, like source, or capital G, God, or what have you, you know. And you know, I don't think these things are contradictory. So those were my thoughts. I also like. I don't think I'm gonna explain that. Never mind. Okay. Um. I guess I'm gonna cut the video short, because that's all I want to talk about right now. The sun's getting hot and I'm feeling weird, so I'm gonna go. But I had a good chat. I think I said pretty well what I wanted to say, and yeah. So thank you very much for watching. Oh, if my hand has come into view of the camera, Nothing bad happened. My cat scratched me, so I had to put him in my room away. But like, no, it's fine. I'm fine. My cat has really long nails. So anyway, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, respond if you want to. Have a good day. Bye. Let's see if I can turn this off.